Hey there, and welcome back to Mass Effect 2. My name is Pete, and today we complete the second half of Tali's loyalty mission. We already took care of most of the dialogue scenes in the last episode, and so today we are heading over to the ship that Tali's father was working on, in order to find out how that ship got overrun by Geth. And we are already at the transport shuttle here, so let's get going.
Is that really a Geth, Rael'Zorah? The guards at the docking bay said...
Don't worry, it's under our control. With luck, it will help us retake the Alarei.
If you say so. Per Admiral Rael'Zorah's orders, the shuttle is prepared for you and Captain Shepard of Vast Normandy.
We can ask for a bit more information here, but unsurprisingly that won't reveal anything we don't know yet. But in true completionist fashion, we will of course be thorough.
Can you tell us anything about what we'll find on the Alarei?
I'm afraid I don't know much. Not many Marines made it back from the initial assault. They talked about massive waves of Geth, though. More than there should have been.
There shouldn't have been any at all.
Right. I mean that they're afraid the Geth are building or repairing more of themselves from materials on the Alarei.
Let's head to the Alarei.
Of course. I'll unlock the shuttle now. Good luck with those Geth, Rael'Zorah. Kila Selai.
Right, so here we are, and since we're expecting Geth, let's switch over to disruptor ammo, which will actually come in handy in just a second here. Yes, this part of the mission immediately begins with a firefight, so at this point there should be no more doubts about the fact that yes, there are Geth on board here, and they're hostile, which of course now begs the question how all of that happened in the first place. Before we can answer that question, however, we have a couple of Geth to eliminate. The fight itself is not too complicated, I think. Most of the enemies here are just plain old regular Geth troopers, and then there is the occasional hunter mixed in. But as long as one of those does not stealth into melee range, then we should be fine. By the way, there is also a power cell crate coming up at the end of the room, so if at this point in the game you are already stocked full on heavy weapon ammo, like I was, then feel free to use some of that to make the fight a little easier. If you like to save up though, then go ahead and do that. Combat-wise, this mission is really not all too challenging. And here we are, and before we leave there is a bit of loot to be grabbed. Not only do we have the power cells, but also 2 laptops, and then the first of several Quarian logs that we will find throughout this mission.
Something's slowing down the systems. We're taking down the firewalls to rebalance load distribution. Rael'Zorah ordered us to bypass standard safeties. Following security protocols will take too long.
Okay, so it does indeed appear as if the Quarians were playing with fire here, and also as if Tali's father made a few questionable decisions. Now, moving on, we have a couple of options here to proceed, and we want to take the first door on the left here to help ourselves to the contents of a medical station as well as a hackable terminal. Afterwards, we can then talk to Tali as we find some of the Geth technology that she sent back.
This is one of the storage units I sent to Father. Looks like parts from a disabled repair drone, plus a reflex algorithm that I didn't recognize. I got this on Haystrom.
Now, as always, we will try to learn as much as we can here, so let's find out more about how Tali selected and also sent back these Geth parts to her father.
Haystrom was a war zone. How did you salvage gear in the middle of all that?
These suits have more pockets than you'd think. Quarians have learned how to salvage whatever we can, whenever we can. Within reason. We're not Vorcha, but we repair what most people would throw away. Hundreds of the ships in our fleet were salvaged wrecks, either found dead in space or purchased for next to nothing.
How did you get these things to your father?
Sometimes I left packages at secure drops in civilized areas. Someone on pilgrimage would see that it was shipped home. For very valuable finds, I'd signal home, and Father would send a small ship.
What made a part worth sending back to your father?
It had to be in working order, something that could be analyzed and integrated into other technology. Anything new had priority. Technology the Geth had developed themselves. Signs of modification, clues to their thinking.
The most important question, however, comes right here. Does any of that actually help us figure out what happened?
Does that salvaged gear give you a clue as to what happened here?
No, I don't know. Shepard, I checked everything I sent here. I passed up great finds because they might be too dangerous, prone to uncontrolled reactivation or self-repair. I don't know which possibility is worse. That I got sloppy and sent something dangerous, or that Father actually did all this.
And putting it this way, there really seems to be no good outcome for this mission, at least for Tali. But let's not jump to conclusions before we know the full picture. Up next, we can now quickly help ourselves to a Geth shield strength upgrade, which we can obtain by hacking the monitor over in this room here.
I'll take it.
And following that, we then get to listen to yet another Quarian log.
Who's running the system diagnostic? I didn't authorize... Oh, Keela. How many Geth are networked?
All of them. Rael'Zorah.
Shut it down! Shut everything down! They're in the system!
Now, I know I said just a moment ago not to jump to conclusions, but it does look more and more like Tali's father made one or maybe even several fatal mistakes. Now, over in the next room here, we want to be careful not to be ambushed by the single Geth hunter that roams around. That is, thankfully, the only enemy here, but it is usually hidden pretty well, so its appearance can perhaps come as a bit of a surprise. Once it has been taken down, there are a few objects of interest, specifically 2 laptops with a combined worth of 3,900 credits, then a little later a wall safe holding 4,200, and right next to it the third Quarian log entry.
We locked down navigation. Weapons are offline. Our mistake won't endanger the fleet. They're burning through the door. I don't have much time. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Jonah, if you get this, be strong for Daddy. Mommy loves you very much.
So, it sounds like the Quarians did realize their mistake a little too late, and since we have also not yet met any living member of their team, it is probably safe to assume that the Geth completely wiped out the ship. Speaking of which, that is coincidentally also what we are here for, as we now find ourselves entangled in combat once more. Once again, we are facing only troopers and hunters in this area, but there are quite a few of them and they actually have 2 entry spots, which does make this fight a little bit more challenging than the first one. At least on Insanity difficulty, it is also very likely that you will run out of ammunition at some point in this fight, so just sticking to cover and waiting for all enemies to fall will probably not always work. Now, we actually have the luxury here of having 2 squad mates with AI hacking, which can be used liberally on the rather high number of Geth hunters in this fight, because those like to get up close and personal, and neither Tali nor Legion are really all that well suited for that type of action. Now, if you don't really care all that much about the additional storyline elements with Legion in the squad on this mission, then I would highly recommend grabbing a squad member with Overload. That should generally help make this fight a bit shorter, since AI hacking has a bit of a tendency to drag fights out. And if you're looking to use a heavy weapon to make this fight go even faster, then go with the arc projector. That one will decimate the Geth in no time, and we should have actually brought it with us for this video. Especially in these smaller enclosed areas, that weapon really shines. Now, once the last Geth falls, there are once again a couple of things to grab in this room, starting with an easily missable palladium crate over here in the corner. Following that, we then have a medical kit over on the opposite wall, and there will likely also be a ton of ammunition lying around here, and we want to make sure to pick up all of it, because the next power cell container is still a bit of a ways to go. Around the corner, we then find a wall safe holding 3,000 credits, and the wall console on the other side will initiate our next conversation with Tali.
This console might have something. Most of the data is corrupted, but a few bits are left. They were performing experiments on Geth systems, looking for new ways to overcome Geth resistance to reprogramming.
We are presented with 3 dialogue options here, and thankfully we can pick all of them. So let's hear what she has to say and if maybe this sheds a bit more light on the situation.
Did you know what kind of tests your father was running?
No, Father just told me to send back any Geth technology I could find that wasn't a direct danger to the fleet. I suspected he might be testing weapons, but I thought he was just working on new ways to bypass shields or armor.
Do you think testing weapons on the Geth was right?
It's not testing weapons on prisoners, Shepard. I only sent Father parts. Even if he assembled them, they wouldn't be sapient. You saw what Saren and Sovereign did with the Geth. Any research that gives us an advantage is important.
Could any of that data clear your name?
Doubtful. This is mostly results data, effects of different disruptive hacking techniques. I don't understand all of it. But they may have been activating the Geth deliberately. I don't know. Nothing here says specifically, but if they were, then Father was doing something terrible. What was all this, Father? You promised you'd build me a house on the homeworld. Was this going to bring us back home?
Now, first morality choice of the episode here, and the Quarians fighting the Geth to be able to return to their homeworld does indeed seem like not necessarily a bad idea, but certainly a risky endeavor, and we will obtain 2 Paragon points here by pointing that out.
Maybe it's time for your people to let go of reclaiming your world from the Geth.
You have no idea what it's like. You have a planet to go back to. My home is one hull breach away from extinction.
You've got a place here, Tali. Don't throw it away in a war you don't need.
Don't need? Shepard, if I don't wear a helmet in my own home, I die. A single kiss could put me in the hospital. Every time you touch a flower with bare fingers, inhale its fragrance without air filters, you're doing something I can't. Damn the pilgrimage. Without it, I might never have known what I was missing, what we had lost when we lost our homeworld.
Now, admittedly, Tali makes a few very good and also very emotional points here, but maybe the situation is not all black and white, so let's grab 2 more Paragon points and suggest an alternative solution.
Have the Quarians considered colonizing a new world?
We'd have enough difficulty reacclimating to our own native environment. Adjusting for exposure to a foreign colony would be even harder. It's the difference between 60 years and 600. For anyone alive now to watch a sunset without a mask, we must take back our home. At the very least, we can take back 1 ship. Come on.
Right, so we're moving on, and what lies ahead of us is now arguably the toughest fight in the mission.
Taking cover.
Moving to cover.
Now, we do have the high ground here, and we're once again just fighting troopers and hunters, but getting a clear shot from up here is not always all that easy. Additionally, while the bulk of the enemy forces do actually come from that doorway down below, the occasional Geth trooper will also appear on a walkway to our left, a walkway, by the way, that cannot be accessed. As you can imagine, our cover won't be all that useful against attacks from that side, so we will have to keep an eye out and react quickly. This is also once again one of those fights where AI hacking is a huge help, because it keeps our enemies occupied with each other at the bottom of the stairs. Especially in the case of the Geth hunters, we definitely do not want them to get up here, because there is really not a whole lot of room to retreat any further, so should an enemy make it all the way up the stairs, we will be completely exposed. Apart from AI hacking, a well-placed combat drone can also keep our enemies from advancing. We should keep in mind though that it probably won't last all that long. If you have no issues going with a slightly more risky approach, then you can also rush through the Geth and towards the doorway that they're all coming from. That should stop any additional enemies from spawning, but to me it feels like a bit of an exploit. Here you can also see what actually happens when some of the enemies make it to the top. The Geth hunters have the additional problem of exploding upon death, so even a close combat kill carries a penalty. A last-second AI hacking, however, sends the enemy back down, and a few moments later the fight is finally over. Finally then, a heavy weapon like the arc projector, for example, does work wonders, and there is also a power cell container coming up after this fight, so there is no need to pay too much attention to ammo consumption. And there we go, the fight is over, and with that I would say the worst of the mission is behind us, so we can now help ourselves to a bit of loot, including 2 laptops, a medkit and the final Quarian log entry.
First entry. Our hacking attempts one process and the others autocorrect. Still, we're making progress. Rael'Zorah is convinced we'll have a viable system in less than a year. This weapon will put our people back on the homeworld, and it's all because of Rael'Zorah.
And, well, speaking of Tali's father, it looks like we have now finally found him as well.
Father! No. You always had a plan. Masked life signs or an onboard medical stasis program, maybe. You wouldn't. They're wrong. You wouldn't just die like this. You wouldn't leave me.
Hey, come here.
Damn it. I'm sorry.
You've got nothing to be sorry about.
Maybe he would have known I'd come. Maybe he left a message.
Tali, if you are listening, then I am dead. The Geth have gone active. I don't have much time. Their main hub will be on the bridge. You'll need to destroy it to stop their VI processes from forming new neural links. Make sure Hangerel and Darozen see the data. They must.
Thanks, Dad.
Apart from the 5 Paragon points from the interruption earlier, we can now help ourselves to 2 more. I think there is no need to make the situation any worse than it already is.
He knew you'd come for him. He was trying to help you. It's not perfect, it's not what you wanted, but it's the best he could do.
I don't know what's worse. Thinking he never really cared, or thinking that he did, and that this was the only way he could show it. It doesn't matter. One way or the other, I cared. And I'm here. And we're ending this.
Now, as promised, we find some power cells in this room, as well as a medkit and not 1 but 2 wall safes. Once we have everything, we can then move on, go up the stairs and into the final fight of this mission. As you can see here though, our enemies have not noticed us yet, so we have plenty of time to grab some credits from a laptop, as well as a model Quarian flotilla ship. The fight itself is then actually pretty straightforward. With a well-placed sniper shot we can immediately take out one of the troopers, and the second trooper as well as the Geth hunter patrolling the area are then also not too difficult to take down. The real threat therefore remains the Geth Prime, but honestly, in this room here it is actually pretty easy to defeat it. Movement is key of course, because the Geth Prime is incredibly slow, which does unfortunately not stop it from taking out our teammates. Be that as it may, apart from a combat drone to distract it, we wouldn't really need them anyway. In my opinion, it is actually pretty easy to outmaneuver this enemy, and if we just stay in motion, it shouldn't be too difficult to eventually take it down. That is also why, while this is the boss fight of the mission, I called the previous one the hardest fight. Again, this one here can very easily be won even without squad members.
Following path.
And with that, we now have the Quarian console ahead of us. Let's activate it, grab the evidence, and shut down the Geth for good.
This console is linked to the main hub Father mentioned. Disabling it shut down any Geth we missed. It looks like some of the recordings remained intact. They'll tell us how this happened, what Father did.
And we are going with the slightly more empathic dialogue choice here, even though it does not give us any morality points.
You sound like you don't really want to hear it.
No. We have to. I know. This is terrible, Shepard. I don't want to know that he was part of this.
Do we have enough parts to bring more online? Yes, the new shipment from your daughter will let us add 2 more Geth to the network.
We're nearing a breakthrough on systemic viral attacks. Perhaps inform the Admiralty Board, just to be safe.
No. We're too close. I promised to build my daughter a house on the home world. I'm not going to sit and wait while the politicians argue. We'd have an easier time of it if Rael'Zorah could send back more working material. Absolutely not. I don't want Tali exposed to any political blowback. Leave Tali out of this. Assemble a new Geth with what we have. Bypass security protocols if need be.
And indeed it looks like Tali played much more of a role in her father's life than anyone assumed up until now. He may have made some horrible choices, but for what it's worth, it looks like he had good intentions.
It sounds like he was doing this for you.
I never wanted this, Shepard. Keela, I never wanted this. Everything here is his fault. I tried to pretend it didn't point to him, but this... When this comes up in the trial, we can't tell them. Not the admirals, not anyone.
Now, Tali makes an interesting decision here, and we have the option to go through multiple responses here, so let's do that, even though the final decision will of course take place at the trial.
Tali, without this evidence, you're looking at exile.
You think I don't know that? You think I want to live knowing that I can never see the fleet again? But I can't go back into that room and say that my father was the worst war criminal in our people's history. I cannot.
Rael'Zorah doesn't need you to worry about him anymore. You heard him say he didn't want you to be caught in the politics.
You don't understand, Shepard. They would strike his name from the manifest of every ship he ever served on. He would be worse than an exile. He'd be a traitor to our people, held up for children as a monster in a cautionary tale. I can't let all the good he did be destroyed for this, Shepard.
We're not going to decide anything here. Let's see what the Admirals say once we get back.
You're my captain in this hearing, Shepard. It's your decision. But please, don't destroy what my father was. Come on. If we wait too long, they'll decide we're already dead, and none of this will matter.
So, here we are, back on board, and it sounds like the trial has already begun.
We need to face facts. There has been no word. There is no reason to think Rael'Zorah survived.
It sounds like the hearing is already underway.
We must trust Shepard's offer of assistance. It's only been a few hours.
The Quarian Marines lasted less than 5 minutes, Admiral. Call it.
A pity Shepard passed Normandy as a soldier. I recommend posthumously exiling Rael'Zorah.
What? It was agreed that Rael'Zorah would not be convicted if she were killed in action.
It was suggested, Admiral. I recall no agreement. To that end, I called for an immediate vote.
And this very much sounds like our cue to interrupt.
Very well. Is the Admiralty Board prepared to render judgment?
Sorry we're late.
And we will continue along the Paragon path here by stating that Tali should be pardoned. After what we've seen, she is most definitely innocent.
Rael'Zorah vas Normandy saved the Alarei. I hope this proves her loyalty to the Quarian people.
Her loyalty was never in doubt, only her judgment.
Perhaps Rael'Zorah can offer something to encourage more trust in her judgment.
Did you find anything on the Alarei that could clarify what happened there?
Shepard, please.
Does Captain Shepard have any new evidence to submit to this hearing?
Right, so we have a couple of options here. For the Intimidate option, we don't have enough Renegade points, but we could go with the Charm option. But because we so thoroughly spoke to all Admirals in the last episode, and because Vitor and Kalriga are also both here, we now have access to the Rally the Crowd option, which, just like the Charm option, will earn us 30 Paragon points, and, very importantly for Tali, I think, does not require us to hand over the evidence incriminating her father.
Look at them, all of you. They don't care about Tali. All they care about is their war with the Geth. Tali risked her life for all of you. On Haestrom, hell, on the Citadel when she stopped Saren. She deserves better than this.
If Commander Shepard has no new evidence, I suggest we render judgment.
Wait! Shepard is right! Tali saved me. She doesn't deserve to be exiled.
Damn straight. Tali's done more for this fleet than you assholes ever will. You're pissing on everything I fought for, everything Tali fought for. So if you exile her, you might as well do the same to me.
Me too.
Tali-Zorah, in light of your history of service, we do not find sufficient evidence to convict. You are cleared of all charges. Commander Shepard, please accept these gifts in appreciation for you taking the time to represent one of our people.
And just because we're given the option, we might as well go for 2 more Paragon points here. With the Reaper threat on the horizon, a war between the Quarians and Geth does indeed seem like a very bad idea.
If you appreciate me, then listen. The Reapers are coming. I'm going to need your help to stop them. Please don't throw away your lives against the Geth.
Thank you, Commander Shepard. I hope this board carefully considers your advice.
This hearing is concluded. Go in peace, Tali-Zorah vas Normandy. Kila Salai.
I can't believe you pulled that off. What you said. I've never had anyone speak like that on my behalf. Thank you for being there for my father and me. Even when... Thank you.
So here we are, the trial has concluded and the admirals have decided in Tali's favor. We can now have another brief conversation with her, but at this point the mission is more or less completed.
We can still go back in and get you exiled if you want.
Thanks, but I'm fine with things like this. It's fun watching you shout.
Tell me, about what your father said, what he did. You deserve better.
I got better, Shepard. I got you.
Come on, Tali-Zorah vas Normandy. Let's get back to our ship.
Thank you, Captain.
This looks interesting.
Now at this point the mission is done and we could return to the Normandy, but the people we spoke to before the trial all have something to say to us now that the hearing is over.
Did you hear that speech? Kila.
So let's have a few more brief conversations before we wrap up the episode.
Vitor, I can't believe you stood up and spoke for me.
Oh, well, it's good Rieger was there. He said most of it.
Vitor, thank you.
Oh, okay. And thank you, Shepard, for helping me and Tali both.
With Vitor here we can obtain 2 more Paragon points, but only because we picked the Rally the Crowd option, so in terms of total Paragon points, that one actually gives you the most.
Guess you just needed a pretty woman to help you feel better.
Well, maybe. Good luck, Tali. And you too, Commander.
Very impressive speech, Commander Shepard. But tell me truly, did you recover any of Rael'Zorah's research on the Alarei?
Nothing that will help you, Admiral.
Pity. Oh well. Whatever is created can be recreated. In any event, I am pleased that our talk regarding the war conundrum allowed you to help Tali. Her exile would have been unfortunate.
We also have another Paragon option here, and in light of the recent events, that one is very well deserved, I think. After all, the Quarian Fleet just experienced firsthand how research on the Geth can go horribly wrong.
You should abandon your plans, Admiral. They're only going to make the situation worse.
We shall see, Commander. Many things are impossible until they are done.
Carl, thank you. I can't believe you did that.
You'd have done the same for me, ma'am. Figured I had to say something when you didn't use that evidence you found on the Alarei.
I didn't say anything about finding evidence, Carl.
Noticed that, ma'am.
Now our final conversation with Cal Rieger here is actually going to be a little bit longer, as we have 3 dialogue options to go through, including another Paragon choice at the end. Once again, one that is only available because we rallied the crowd.
Any idea what your next assignment's going to be?
I'm going to be escorting more techs around to look for signs of dark energy buildup. Maybe see if they can figure out what's causing it. Wherever they send me, it'll have to be less exciting than Haestrom.
What's your take on the war? Are the Admirals going to try to retake the homeworld?
I won't shy away from a fight, but if the Admirals throw the fleet at the Geth, all they'll get back is scrap metal. The best bet would be for us to find another way. But a soldier can't say unless his superiors ask.
I appreciate your help, Rieger. I don't know what I would have done if you and Vitor hadn't stood up to help.
I'm sure you'd have figured something out. Good luck out there, ma'am.
Carl, just call me Tali.
I'll work on that, ma'am.
The Admirals would have faced a coup if they'd exiled Tali-Zorah after what Shepard said.
So, that is this side of talks completed. Alarei will actually be our last conversation of the mission. So, before we talk to her, let's speak to the two admirals over on the other side here.
I knew they wouldn't exile Tali-Zorah.
Damn fine speech, Shepard. It was about time someone reminded Admiral Corus that the woman he was accusing of treason was the pride of the fleet. Tell me, though, honestly, what did you find over there? You spoke well, but I know a feint when I see it.
Now, normally I think it would be best to refer to Tali's judgment in this situation. However, only if we are completely forthright will we earn 2 more Paragon points. So let's do that and hope the guy can keep a secret.
Off the record, Rael'Zorah was bringing the Geth online and networking them for weapons tests.
Keeler.
You can never tell anyone, Hen.
You have my word. Thanks for keeping quiet. I would have heard what your father wanted for the fleet. I'm just glad you didn't have to pay for his mistakes. Be well, Tali. Fly safe.
Very impressive, Shepard. Thank you for your help on the Alarei. And thank you for helping Rael'Zorah's daughter. You stood for her when we failed. We were wrong to let our own concerns about the war overshadow Tali's trial.
Now, Corus appears to be surprisingly polite here, and we can earn ourselves 2 more Paragon points with him as well. After all, his idea to push for peace is certainly one that we can get behind.
The galaxy needs more people saying what you're saying, Admiral. Good luck.
Thank you, Commander.
And that leaves us now only with Alarei, who probably has some parting words for us as well.
The Admirals thought they were humbling you by forcing you to represent her, Shepard. I'm glad they were wrong. You didn't mention survivors. Did you find real Tali? I am sure he would have left you a message if he'd had time.
And I don't think it is our place to make any sort of judgment here, so let us just confirm that yes, he left us a message, and leave it at that.
We found Rael's body. He left a message for Tali.
I can only imagine how horrible this is for you, child. But at least you got to hear your father tell you he loved you.
Yes. Thank you, Admiral.
Good luck on your mission. No matter how dark it gets, the fleet is always with you. Keela's alive.
And that more or less concludes our business here with the flotilla. All that is left for us to do now is to head back to our own ship.
Tali and Shepard are good at killing synthetics. Glad they're on our side.
I can't believe Shepard said that.
Congratulations, Tali-Zorah. I was skeptical about your choice in captains, but I see now that I was wrong.
Thank you, Captain. I'm just glad that this is over.
You'll always have a place on the Rhine, whenever you decide to come home. Good luck out there.
And with those lovely last words from the captain here, we can now make our exit, complete the mission, and unlock another achievement. And there we are, Tali's loyalty mission has been completed and we have unlocked the Treason achievement. Not only that, we have also gained enough experience points to advance to level 30, which now also grants us the Power Gamer achievement. All in all, I would say this mission went about as well as we could have hoped for. Not only did we get Tali exonerated, but we also did so without incriminating her father, which, at least from Tali's perspective, seems like a win-win. Since Tali is now loyal to us, she unlocks the energy drain power as well as a new outfit, while we obtain the Geth shield strength and tech damage upgrades, as well as 45,000 credits and 2,000 units of palladium. And with that, we can return to the Normandy.
Commander, Legion would like to talk with you.
Now we hear from Kelly that Legion would now like to talk to us, and you can already place your bets what that conversation might unlock. For the moment though, we will quickly research both of the upgrades we just received, spending 2000 units of Element 0 on the tech damage upgrade and 2500 units of platinum on the Geth shield strength upgrade. And following all that, we will now head back to engineering to have one last conversation with Tali before we wrap the episode up.
Keela, I'm sorry I dragged you into Quarian politics. All that infighting, seeing what my father did. You were the only one there for me, Shepard. The only cover I had against that storm. Thank you.
Now once again we will go through all available dialogue options here one after the other, finishing with another Paragon choice for the final morality points of this video.
I imagine they're trying to fill your father's spot on the Admiralty Board. What will that do to the balance of power?
I have no idea. Being exiled might have made it easier. A few people are suggesting me as a candidate. Replacing an admiral takes time though. You may not have noticed, but Quarians like to debate.
Are Quarian politics always like that?
No. Sometimes it can actually get unpleasant. We're a very social people, Shepard. We have to be, to make up for being stuck in these suits. And part of that means getting involved in each other's business.
The whole trial was insulting. You should have had time to mourn your father.
I don't think life is about what you deserve. But my father would be honored that I chose to mourn him by blowing up a lot of Geth. I should get back to work. But thanks for checking on me.
And so here we are with Tali's loyalty mission fully completed. In the next episode, we will start things off with a conversation with Legion, because, as we just heard, there might be something worth talking about. That video is then going to be one of the final episodes before we head into the grand finale, so stay tuned, this series is not going to last for that much longer. For today though, we can make the cut at this point. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, then I would be very happy if you could leave a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing and want to support me and my channel further, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't done so already, grab some merch over on shop.petecomplete.com, or check out and maybe even pledge to the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.